Hello, you joined me with my 1984 EXP Turbo once again, but not for anything too crazy special. Sadly, sadly, all we're doing is comparing intake systems. So this video might not be too important to some of you, but it is handy for me, and that's why I'm doing it right now. So before me are three different intake systems. This one is for an 83 to 85 Escort EXP 1.6 EFI. This one is for a 84 and 85 EXP or Escort Turbo, the 1.6 once again. And this too is obviously the 84-85 turbo intake system with the whole car. But the turbo setup, it seems kind of convoluted, or at least kind of complex with how much stuff there is here. But there's not loads, it's just hidden kind of well. But normally there'd be a turbo down here underneath the intake manifold, right underneath that O2 sensor. But mine has long since been deleted and bypassed. That's why the oil feed line is pinched off and a section of pipe was welded in where the turbo was. And the intake snorkels just use a double-ended male connector to connect the two. So, yeah. So this, although is using mostly OEM parts, it's not in the orientation you would normally see. So that's why I'm making the video. So this is what the turbo intake system would look like if I were to make the hood disappear. This is how it all lays out. This section goes inside the quarter panel. If I took the quarter panel off my black car, you'd see the same piece. It's a type of cold air snorkel. It draws cold air from behind the front wheel. And then, so this guy sticks through a hole in the subframe of the car. Or, sorry, not the subframe, really the frame of the car, the unibody. There's a little oval hole here, and it accepts this. So this sticks out one way. And then you insert this piece. It's a rectangular S into that, bolt it in, and then it's got a flex pipe thing, an accordion pipe piece, and it's got very unique style clamps that is integral to it. Finding these guys is extremely tricky. They only ever came on the turbo, so good luck finding them. So at some point I will find an alternative to these, but sadly we can only get there when we get there. And then there is this kind of a right-angled square piece to oval piece, and just goes from our accordion snorkel into the lid of our airbox. And yep, pretty much just a normal turbocharged lid. It's similar to the most modern cars. It takes the rectangle style air filter. This is the lid, and just comes off. And it's got two holes in the back for these two oil bungs to go through. And then, the filter would be here underneath it. And then this lower filter tray, it goes into the VAM. And it just, the lower half just bolts right onto it. This one, however, has an inlet piece from something like I believe an SVO, the 2.3 turbos, or maybe a 2.3 EFI. Because normally there wouldn't be this trumpet horn here, and instead this VAM would be directly attached to that lower intake tray. And then from the VAM, there's this funky snorkel piece. This guy is very unique. This is only for EXP and Escort turbos. Very unique. This goes from the VAM over to the turbocharger. So we'll set this kind of here so you can kind of see how it works. I can't reach down below there, but you can see there's this pipe hiding down inside, and they curled it up and they lobbed it off so that it's pretty much this piece turned 90 degrees. They cut it and they made it adapt to the elephant snorkel, the trunk snorkel. But normally this guy would be tilted down 90 degrees, like so, just like this. And this side would just go straight into the turbocharger. So we'll take this, set this over here. Don't tip it. Okay. Things are getting out of hand. There. And then the EFI setup is kind of similar in a few different ways. It's kind of an in-between of the turbo style and the carb style. So I'll actually pop the hood of a stock carb car. This would normally have a right angled intake right here. And then it would go up into the carbureted snorkel. So the EFI kind of mimics that. Instead of the intake coming from the airbox down the tube into the right of the snorkel and out towards the front of the radiator support, it goes to the left. Not too sure why. I think it was just a space constraint issue with the filter housing. They wanted to have this here-ish next to the battery, and with the battery where it is, you can't really put that on the other side of this. And that's why the turbo air intake system is on the left of the battery. So there were some space issues, but we'll start at the inlet here. So this is the little snorkel piece that comes up front. Pretty much all the carbureted Escorts, carbureted EXPs will have something similar to this, but over here instead. Not too critical. And this one in particular actually has the snorkel piece, or the snorkel inlet, that is for the alternator. Some models of these EXPs and Escorts had a separate snorkel that went from here-ish straight to the alternator just so it could draw more cold air. Not too important. But immediately after the snorkel, there is a heater valve. So as less vacuum is needed as the engine warms up, this guy opens up, you have a little bit more airflow coming through, where it goes straight into the filter housing. And like I said, this just takes a normal rectangular modern type filter, and then it goes into a very small MAF. This guy is noticeably smaller than the turbo one. We'll grab that just so you can see what the difference is. There we are. This guy's also noticeably heavier, and we set that here. Dwarfed in comparison. Absolutely dwarfed. The inlets alone are a huge difference. Look at that. Look at that. Look at all that flow. Really, that's only potential. Flow. Just flow potential. Oh, there we go. We should compare the correct ends, and it's the difference is even greater on film. But yeah, and rumor has it is you can take the VAMs off of, the 2.3 EFIs or the 2.3 turbos, the SVOs, and then all of a sudden now you can have the SVO injectors and a better turbo, a better exhaust manifold, and all of a sudden you're making crazy horsepower numbers. But back to stock setups. After the VAM is just a simple 90-degree bend. And it goes from the diameter of the VAM into the throttle body. And I'm going to actually show you that because it is the same thing on the turbo car. It's the same throttle body attached to the same exact intake, as far as I know. We would expect the turbo manifolds to be honed out, ported out, whatever you'd like to call it, with a little bit larger flow, faster flow, something like that. Anyhow, we expect them to be modified, but I don't believe that is the case, sadly. And I know the throttle bodies are just the same between the 1.6 EFI, the 1.6 turbo, and the 1.9 EFI high output. Heck, it's even the same as the 3.8 Mustang. Yeah, that's right. I don't want to get too off topic, and that's why I'm kind of struggling here. But this kind of covers everything I wanted to mention. Like I said, it was primarily just for me, but I'm sure some of you will find this of use too. Just so you can see how all these pieces are supposed to assemble in their respective machines. And you'll see in the thumbnail, I'll have a photo of them properly assembled side by side so you can see the two. It's pretty neat. But yes, that's kind of it for now. Stay tuned for the videos on the turbo project. Someday soon I will start diving into that. Hoping in the spring I can yank out this engine. And then we can do some myth busting, because there's a lot of rumors about these guys that I want to confirm or deny, whatever. So, but anyhow, I've been yabbing on long enough. I'll let you guys go, and we'll catch you later. Oh, one last thing. We'll show you these guys properly assembled, just so you can kind of see them. And I should mention the EFI ones usually have a sticker here, and this one had it, but sadly it's long gone, but it was stamped 1.6 EFI. So it was kind of cool. I'll look into replacing those, but that might be a down the road kind of thing, sadly. But yeah, I'll just shut up and let you guys admire, and you can check off whenever you want.